studio for the Community Spotlight program, and joined this morning by our intern, Ashlyn. Not going to forget about you this morning, Ashlyn. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Thank you so much. And also, hey, we still have music going here. Let me stop that. There we go. Now I got it. I was too focused on introducing you, Ashlyn, that I messed the music up. So in the studio also with us is our guest this morning, Steve Christensen. Steve, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great. Steve is our Gila County District 1 Supervisor, and he is in this morning to share with us what's happening in your world.
My world.
Your world.
The world of Gila County.
The world of Gila County, that's right. And I know before the program, we were talking a little bit about something that I guess is being discussed right now. In fact, a couple meetings today on it, and that is redistricting.
Yes, redistricting. And so the redistricting I want to talk about is the county redistricting. So the whole nation is really going through congressional redistricting in the state, at the state level, and the federal level, and at the county level we're redistricting as well. So there's 3 districts in Gila County, and each district is represented by one supervisor making up the Board of Supervisors. So I'm the supervisor for District 1, as you mentioned, which is essentially in the northern part here of Gila County. So most of Payson up to Pine, Strawberry, and eastward. So why do we redistrict? So this was set up way back with the Founding Fathers. The redistricting purpose is to make adjustments every 10 years if needed so that the population is equally represented, balanced numerically. And so it's kind of a numbers thing.
A numbers thing. And I think it is important to point out the meetings. That's very important. The public meetings that are being held today, there are 2 meetings. One of them is in Pine at the LDS Church in Pine, and that's at 1 o'clock. And the other one is here in Payson at 5 o'clock today. And that's in the Board of Supervisors, Gila County Board of Supervisors?
Yeah, the Board of Supervisors office. Now that's located at 610 East Highway 260, next to Fargo's.
Hey.
And so the public's invited. We have had a 12-member task force that's been working on this with meetings. They are running all over. I really want to thank them for doing that. It's a volunteer thing, and they've been working hard to develop several options on these maps. And the maps can still be altered. So public input is important.
Yes, and that was something that you really, I guess, wanted to emphasize before the program. You mentioned that these maps, the current maps that are being proposed, that are out there, are not written in stone yet.
Oh no, until it comes before the board for us to essentially approve them, ratify them, and put them into effect. Which we are hopeful to do within the next couple of months. Our deadline is basically the end of June, I think. And so I do not want to wait that long. That's way too far into the political season, because once these lines are changed, it changes where you vote, who you're voting for, things like that.
Gotcha. So again, if you're listening and you wanted to share your input on the redistricting maps and how you feel about that, again, if you're in the Pine Strawberry area, the meeting is at 1 o'clock today at the LDS Church. And if you're here in Payson, the meeting is 5 o'clock in the Gila County Board of Supervisors meeting room or chambers.
Right. So, and also there's going to be many, many more meetings than that throughout the county. There's one coming up in Young. I don't know if that's tomorrow or not, but go to the website, the Gila County website, and click on anything that looks like redistricting, and you should be able to get a schedule there.
Yep, and I'm looking at that website right now, and it does list all of the meetings. You can also view the maps on the website. There's links to the maps. And the meeting in Young is, as Steve said, tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Bruzy Vineyard. And
Oh,
then, yeah, hey, and that's nice. You can
yeah,
get
that's
it.
a nice place.
I know, very nice place to have a meeting. Thursday, a meeting in Globe at 5 p.m. And then Friday at 10 a.m., there's a meeting in Tonto Basin for Roosevelt area residents. And that's at the Tonto Basin Chamber of Commerce. And that's right there on Highway 188. Again, all this information on the Gila County website. That's gilacountyaz.gov.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And you also brought along an email that you recently received from the Tonto National Forest Service.
Yes.
That some really good information.
Well, the Forest Service is going to loosen up some money for our area, $6 million to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be spent on the Tonto and the Pleasant Valley Ranger districts.
Oh, real nice.
Yeah, so and a lot of it's going to be up here in the northern part.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good for us.
Mm-hmm. That's real
There's
good.
going to be several million that they're going to work on in the old dude scar burn,
Okay.
the dude burn scar.
Mm-hmm.
Get that right. And then also thinning.
Okay.
They call it mastication. You
Mastication.
want to say that very carefully.
Okay.
That means
Pulverizing.
grinding it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what they're doing on thousands of acres here in northern Gila County, and they're going to do a little bit of road work on the 64 road as well. They call it resurfacing. I don't believe that means paving.
Gotcha.
I don't know. They're going to be working on that road though to improve it because there's going to be some logging trucks coming in and out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's all good news. So this developed essentially from the fry,
Mm-hmm.
which has been going on for years and years and years.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so that thing kind of fell apart because they were trying to get too much into one bid. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to get like 600,000 acres over the course of 10 years in four counties essentially,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to try and get this all done with a bidder,
Mm-hmm.
and they could never get. It was just way too many adjustments and delays and problems getting a bidder to bid for because they couldn't make any money
Mm-hmm.
doing it. So they've now taken that concept out and they're doing smaller projects with
Mhm.
smaller funding to just kind of directly go after the things that are needed. And northern Gila County is considered one of the nation's primary areas to work on.
Gotcha.
So that's a good thing.
That is good. Very good. So, Ashlyn, question for you.
Yes.
Speaking of forests, what I guess is your favorite thing to do? What do you like doing any activities in our local forest?
Well, when I was younger, my dad and I used to hike at the water wheel,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that was always super fun. I would love to do that again.
You would love to do that again. So it's been a while since you've been out hiking.
It has.
For
We've been
me as
busy.
well. I was out there a lot more, say like 4 or 5 years ago or so.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
we just were up in Pine though. My son and his family and my wife and the Pine Loop, the Pine Trailhead right there, and doing the loop, and that we used to do when we lived in Pine, and it's beautiful.
Well, there's a lot of great trails around
lot of great
Rim
trails.
Country. So
Mhm.
there's books on it and everything. So
Oh
there's a
yeah.
lot of people that work on those trails, volunteers.
There is, and there's some work, and I know we just shared this recently. Work going on the Highline Trail.
Yeah.
That the Rim Country Mountain Bike Association has kind of been revived, and they're starting to do some great work. So it's good to see there, and we've been getting, as I know you have as well, Steve, a lot of information from the Tonto National Forest Service and Coconino on forest thinning efforts, or where they're really doing a good job and very active
Right.
in the forest.
But never enough, Chris. Never enough. And up on top, the Coconino, you mentioned the Coconino, so right
Mhm.
above there, that's where C.C. Cragen is.
Yes. Yep.
So even though we're not in that forest, that reservoir is vital to Payson.
Yes.
And that has to be protected from catastrophic fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost millions and millions to do it
Mm-hmm.
because of the terrain.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So they're going to have to do a lot of like surgical type timber harvesting,
Mm-hmm.
helicopters, whatever.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But what has to happen is the Forest Service has to pay for this stuff.
Uh-huh.
There is no logging company that can make money doing that. If you just gave them the bid to go in there and take the logs, they'd lose money.
Yeah.
They can't get them out. And so it's going to cost us to do it. But if we don't pay it now, we pay it big later.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's an ongoing, constant ongoing effort.
Right.
And that, and we see it here in our own community. I know that whether it's the town or you see properties that have been fire-wise, have been thinned, and then 5 to 7 years later, they're right back, to
Right.
almost
It
where they
requires
were.
maintenance, not only just the initial thinning, but the maintenance of
Yes.
it, because it's always growing.
Yes.
And so, I look at Ashlyn here, and I think, now she's young,
Uh-huh.
and she's not politically active probably, or really involved maybe with the issues we're talking about of
Mhm.
great concern.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 years from now, when I'm 93,
Uh-huh.
and she's, whatever, 45,
Let's say 48. She just turned 18, so 48.
so 48. When she's 48,
Mm-hmm.
she's going to appreciate maybe
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing right now to protect her future and everyone else's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's where we'll always have to, our community leaders always need to be looking to the future. Always need to
Absolutely.
be looking to the future.
And
It's
so
not
where
about
we are right
now.
now is the result of decisions made decades ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if those decisions were not right, or were not enough, or were correct, we need to evaluate that and
Mhm.
find out what didn't work, what does work, and make adjustments.
Mm-hmm. Adjustments. That's the exact word that came to my mind as
Right.
well. It's making adjustments as times change, as the needs change for the community, because communities are always changing.
Well, what's really easy to do, Chris, is to identify the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy.
Yeah.
We know what the problem is. We've got too thick of a forest. It affects the watershed. It affects the wildlife. It affects
The safety.
the
of the
safety.
community.
It affects our fire seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the issue. That's the
Yeah.
problem. We know what the problem is, but do we have the wherewithal, the intestinal integrity to spend the money that it takes to fix that? Because we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
We can fix it,
Mm-hmm.
or at least manage it a lot better.
Yes.
But it's going to take a real commitment from somebody with a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Money comes down to
It always
that
comes down to
with so
Right.
many of these different issues. Again, if you're just joining us, talking with Gila County District 1 Supervisor Steve Christensen, and also in the studio our intern Ashland. And are there any other things that you have been kind of looking at here recently? And I know there's so much that is going on in the
Well,
county.
it is. And so if you were to ask me what's the most pressing issue, there is no one pressing
Yeah.
issue. It's like laying under a car and having it lay on you, and you say, well, what's the most pressing issue? Is it the engine or the transmission or the axles or the seat covers? It's all pressure. There's a lot of juggling, a lot of things in the air. Okay,
Yeah.
so I've been at this now just over a year.
Uh-huh.
And so with the Fossil Creek issue, we're going to jump back into real quick,
Okay.
and that's a safety issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm most certain everyone has noticed this giant new building that we have over by the post office.
Wait, there's a new building?
Yeah.
here in Payson?
You didn't
Wait,
see
by
that.
The post office?
Yeah.
Really? Ashland, did you see that?
I mean, I've driven over here multiple times. I don't think I've seen anything.
Yeah, right. No, it is. Hey, it looks great.
It's going to be great, and it's going to be
Yeah.
great for northern Gila County.
Uh huh.
So
yeah.
this demonstrates the idea that Gila County, as far as its power
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, is not just in Globe.
Mm-hmm.
That is the county seat. I understand that. But your representation in the north is me,
Mhm.
and the fact that we now have this building. It's great. We can have juried court now here,
Mhm.
and they're going to be opening that building up soon. I hear in February. I don't have an exact date, but the recorder and the assessor are already in there.
Mhm.
They tore down their building and are expanding that into a parking lot.
Yes,
You may have
that'll be
seen.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be really good.
You know, and I know there's others. I think all of us appreciate parking, but it's hard to appreciate or understand, or I guess accept all of the money that has to be spent on parking, the land that has to be dedicated to parking, and again the expense of making a parking lot. But it's something that it's easy to take for granted, and it's so important to have adequate parking, whether it's a county building, whether it's a town building, whether it's a park, a event center, whatever
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
You need that parking, but it does require a lot of space and money.
Money, expense. Well,
Yes.
before I came on board a year ago, they had already approved a $10 million expenditure that would include this building, which is about $5.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Build a new facility, animal control facility in Globe, which is done. That's
Yes.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're going to do a few other things, but they're also going to improve some stuff here at the jail
Mm-hmm.
here in
Gotcha.
town. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's $10 million.
Mm-hmm.
What you're looking at right there.
Mm-hmm.
10 million is a chunk of change.
Yeah.
And we have to pay that back. So I mean, it's not like we're rich. We're not a rich county.
Mm-hmm. No, we're not, and that's where I know there's also efforts in place to increase revenue into the county. One of them that comes to my mind, I think of right away, Discover Gila County, and that program and all of the efforts to increase tourism, bring people to our beautiful county. I mean, there's so many great attractions in Gila County.
Yes, Discover Gila, and it's a great website. You need to go see
Oh, yeah.
that. And if you're unfamiliar with Gila County, this will help you become familiar
Mm-hmm.
because it shows a very diverse
Mm-hmm.
range of things that Gila County has.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And we are very diverse. I think we're the best county in the whole state. So
You're a little biased.
yeah,
Steve. Come
not
on.
really.
You're a little, yeah.
Well,
not really.
Shoot another one out there that's better.
No, I know it is. I mean, we're definitely right up there. It's not like we're just have desolate wasteland here in Gila County. It's gorgeous. I mean, beautiful.
It is.
And Roosevelt
and
Lake.
I'm serious. Pick another county
Yeah.
that is better than Gila County when it comes to the diversity of the terrain, the different climates.
Yeah.
The mountains.
Yep.
We have saguaros, we have lakes, we have high timber,
The Mogollon Rim.
the Mogollon Rim. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask Ashland, how much traveling have you done within Gila County? So where are some other places that maybe you have gone outside of Payson in Gila County? So for example, Roosevelt Lake. You been to Roosevelt Lake?
I believe that I've been there at least once.
And up on the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Been up on the rim there. How about Young? Have you ever been to Young?
Maybe drove through it.
You would remember
Okay.
because the road to Young, dirt road, some of it paved, some dirt, but very pretty in Young, Pleasant Valley, the Pleasant Valley Wars, a lot of history there. So that's something, getting our young people to get out and discover Gila County and all the different places in Gila County. Because history, are you interested in history at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so much great history. We just had our guests yesterday, a couple friends that were in a movie that was produced here locally, Heart of the Gun. And the director also produced the Pleasant Valley Wars. And they were talking about the history in Young and where some of the conflicts took place in the Pleasant Valley Wars. One of the buildings was still there. It's on private property, and that's where they shot the film.
Right.
And how cool is that?
It's pretty cool.
It is.
Well, right here in our own town, in Payson on Main Street, the Piper House, we call the Piper Mansion,
Yes.
and every time I say that, they say, what mansion?
Oh yeah, you're thinking of, yeah.
Anyway, it's built in 1880 or something.
Yeah.
And so by the Pipers, and so
Yeah.
that's like the oldest house in town, and it still exists.
Yes.
Yet in the backyard there is the oldest structure in town, which is the old Seidel's mud home.
Yes.
Okay, that's like the first thing that was ever built in this little valley.
First
And-
thing.
It still exists.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the oldest commercial property still exists that the Pipers built across the street, and we call that Bootleg Alley. Used to be, well, it's been everything, but that used to be a bar.
Gotcha.
Okay, it was the Piper Bar.
Uh-huh.
And so then we still have a great amount of history just right here in Payson.
Yes.
And we were never a town that had a ton of money like Prescott or Bisbee, Tombstone. Those places had a lot of money early on because of the mining.
Gotcha.
So Payson didn't have that. And so most of the structures that were built here haven't lasted because they just were not built out of stone or brick,
Yes.
or they weren't just magnificent structures. They were just wood or something, and they've deteriorated or they've been torn down and started over. So there's a few left, and so we want to preserve that history.
And another town, or Globe, because you look at all of these stone buildings in Globe as well.
Yep, Globe heyday was obviously in the past, and they have some tremendous buildings there. The old courthouse, the old jail, the old stuff that's no longer being used for those purposes still exists, and they're all very architecturally pretty cool.
Yeah, no, they really are. Again, talking with Steve Christensen, District 1 County Supervisor, and again, want to put out there about the redistricting meetings that are today in Pine at 1 p.m., and that is at the LDS Church in Pine. And then here in Payson at 5 o'clock in the Gila County Board of Supervisors chamber. And can you give that address of your building? I know it's on 260.
Yeah, it's on the north side of 260 next to Fargo's. It's 610 East Highway 260.
Okay,
Okay.
there we go.
And speaking about that, the District 1, this district right here, my district, has grown when the other two districts have not
Yes,
over the last 10 years.
yes.
So that's where the adjustment's going to be made. So they're going to take some of my district away. It looks like in every map scenario they have that they're going to take away the precinct called the Zane-Grey precinct. And they have to do it by precinct. They don't just say, well, let's scoop out a bunch of people here. It's an entire precinct, not part of one, not more than one. It's one at a time.
Okay.
And so they're going to remove that. And that's basically everything on the east end of District 1. So from Colcord, Estates Road, you know, all that.
Okay.
And coming back toward Christopher Creek and Coles Ranch and on into Tono Village
Okay.
and into Pile Ranch and all of those, all the way basically, and I don't know the exact line, but right about Bonita Creek subdivision
Okay.
is gonna all be moved out of District 1. I say that, it looks like that's what's going to happen.
Okay. But not, so Bonita Creek coming as far west as Bonita Creek, but not going into Star Valley or Diamond Point or those areas?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
it stops there because that is a precinct.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so then I'll keep East Verde, Whispering Pines, all of that, and obviously Pine Strawberry, all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they had to shift those people into another district, which will become District 3, which is Woody Klein.
Okay.
And so most of the debate's going to be between District 2 and 3, how they maneuver those.
Okay. And that will be interesting. Again, as Steve pointed out earlier, none of these maps, none of the maps are finalized. It hasn't been, the final decision hasn't been made yet. So if you would like to give your input into the maps and how they end up, how you feel, they should be, or again, to give your opinion there. The meeting today at 1 o'clock in Pine at the LDS Church, and then here in Payson at 5 at the Gila County building there, 610 Highway 260,
Yep.
right next to Fargo's.
Yep.
And you can find these maps, view them on the Gila County website. That's gilacountyaz.gov, and you'll see a kind of a button on the homepage that has a map of Gila County, and it says Gila County Redistricting Information. So you're able to click on links to view the maps, get all of the meeting times, because then there is a meeting tomorrow in Young and Friday in Tonto Basin. So there you go. Well, Steve, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, KRIM.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thank you, Ashlyn, for joining us.
Oh, thank you. It's always such a pleasure.
Yeah.
There you go, and Ashland, yes. So the goal is to get Ashland out into Gila County. Maybe have her, take a camera, do some little pictures and stuff, and say, "Hey, look, I've been here."
Yep.
Do a little vlog.
Absolutely.
There we go. So thank you everyone for listening. Hope you have a wonderful hump day, and time to get back to the music here on KRIM with some Police, Pink Floyd, Bon Jovi, and Aerosmith. But first, let's get an update on the weather from the National Weather Service.
Surrounding areas.
There we go. That went smoother than the start of the program, which I don't know what I did there, but fat fingered it somehow. That's an expression probably you will not hear anymore, but when someone says, I fat fingered it, messed it up. Fingers bad.
Well,
Right, that one. See ya.